Good morning and welcome back to the regular edition of the Beef and Barnzy Show. Back this see from an unusual location here in suburban Tampa, Florida.
Spring
Hill, Florida. And we're adding a little culture and class to the show with our lavender flower of some sort. But gosh, let's see. Since we've last seen you, there's been a major TV show on Fox. And then Stu and I had our own versions of the Super Bowl with a sweeper in Fort Myers, Florida, and then a mini one-day regional in Tampa. So those went much better than the ToC did for us. And from there, we are headed over to Coolwick today and see that operation and get some work in and get ready for the World Series. So what else?
Yeah, I mean, the headline of the show is obviously going to be Frankie. However, I mean, let's be honest, we won money bowling. I mean, you did it 2 out of 2. I did it 1 out of 2. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. Baby steps and all. We went up to Fort Myers and we bowled in Robert Eddy Center over at Lightning Strikes.
Yeah.
It was that was really cool. Super great host. Yeah, that was perfect, wasn't it? I mean, yeah. The local dealership put up $1,000 for the first 300. I bowled against Walter Ray. I had 288 with the front 10. And a couple of the guys were giving me a hard time. Oh, well, let's see if you can do it this game. So I did it the next game, 300, 288, 300. If you head over to our YouTube channel, you can check out that match against Walter Ray, Beef Stew versus the GOAT. And then unfortunately for Chris, he was a day late and $1 short because he bowled 300 the next round on the same pair.
Both of us using the reality that we did a review on that not so long ago, also on our YouTube channel. But yeah, and I told him I would happily split my part of the 300 if he was willing to split his. But he decided 2.5 fingers of the high five did not quite equal the $1,000, so he passed on that.
Yeah, I mean, if it had been a full high five from Jason Pierre-Paul, also known as 2.5 fingers, that would have been okay. Oh, just a second. What's it say? Somebody said something about only hearing. Moved it. Oh. Okay. Yes, Russell. No, we've moved on from that. Texas is a metropolis now at 75 degrees. No, we're over in Florida, so we don't have any heating issues. We're just traveling together. So yeah.
Appreciate everybody coming in already. Lots of people here. So with no further ado, we'll bring in the newly and 3-time.
The new member of the club.
The new member of the club. Yes, we have. Now that makes 4, technically 5 if Walter Bowles active members of the 3+ major titleists. Francois Lavoie.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Not much. It sounds like you've been on a big interview tour. You're in multiple languages, countries, fashions.
Yeah, mostly back home. I've gotten quite a few interviews back home in French with different news outlets, different radio stations, TV shows and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun for sure.
So when you do the interviews in French, is the first one a little challenging because you obviously don't speak a lot of French the rest of the year?
Yeah, it is. I kind of have to. It takes me a minute to switch my brain over a little bit, but once I get back into the rhythm, it's fine again. It just takes a little. It takes a little bit. There's sometimes when I'm looking for certain words, or even like a way to phrase something because the English and the French sentence structures are different. So. A little tricky, but it's all right. I make do.
And you were pretty excited about one this morning, right? You
Yeah,
You had one.
The one at 8:15 came pretty quickly after an eventful night. The one at 8:15 came quickly.
No, we were really more talking about who it was with.
Oh, that was one that I did yesterday, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did one yesterday with a guy who's been calling the Montreal Canadiens games for, I don't know, 30 years, for as long as I can remember. So he's a pretty big shot guy, and he knows the Buffa family. He's gone there before, and he's actually a bowler himself, which I didn't know, and that was pretty exciting to see that he brought me on to one of his segments on one of his shows. He wanted to highlight some bowling in the middle of hockey season in Canada. That's pretty special.
Well, I guess they wanted to see somebody winning at something.
Yeah. It's been a while. 5 losses in a row. Hopefully the Canadiens can turn it around tonight against Ottawa.
It's our year, Frank.
It is our year. Fired the whole coaching staff. They're all gone.
Trash. Get out of here.
Have to do something.
Hit the bricks. So let's kind of roll it back a little bit to the 8th frame of position round.
Yeah.
Can we just safely say that this was Bill O'Neill's fault?
I wish I could. I wish I could just blame him. But
because I mean, Bill O'Neill threw it in the gutter right before you, didn't he? Or was he right after you?
I think he was right before, and to be honest, I didn't really pay attention to it until other people told me. I barely noticed that he did that. I just kind of saw him in my peripheral vision, and he went up and threw his shot, but I didn't really know what happened until someone told me afterwards. Back-to-back gutters. So yeah, let's blame Bill.
Yeah. So the people that didn't watch it, Frankie's basically, he just needs to kind of cruise into the finish line. Smallwood's putting together a pretty big game.
Yeah, Smallwood,
but he has 61 pins to play with, and so you were in not fantastic shape, but okay shape. 2-0 pace, and you on a strike, right, or double?
Double, I think. Double or triple, maybe.
Oh, so you really were just needed to get it across the finish line.
Sparing out would have been fine.
Not that I've ever done anything like this, but then you threw it in the gutter. And if you were anything like me, the conversation is, seriously? There's like literally one thing you can't do right now.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah, I mean, Frank is usually really understanding with himself. And, you know, he's one of those guys who's just like, it's okay, Frank. Don't worry about it.
He's on Team Tony Robbins like the rest of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. Nothing to worry about. I'll just 7-10 on the spare shot.
And all of a sudden, it was a thing.
I believe
all of a sudden the triple didn't matter anymore. The double or the triple didn't matter anymore, and now I've got some work to do.
Shit got real fast.
It did. It certainly did. I went up on the other lane, and the last thing I wanted to do was go up on the other lane and overcorrect. Like that happens so many times. The last thing I wanted to do was tug one and miss the headpin left. So I threw it about the same spot again, where it was super tight down to the right, down lane to the right, and I left the fence. I'm like, all right, I'm just on 0-8. Now I'm left the fence. I don't remember the last time I've shot it with the 7-pin standing. I don't know how I'm going to shoot it. I was definitely a little nervous shooting it. Made the spare and stepped up in the 10th and got a lucky break and forced a roll off. That I was fortunate enough to figure out that pair a little bit quicker than Tom.
Double and 9, really good shot.
I thought the first and the last shot in the 10th were good. Yeah, the second one was the one where I rolled the 2-pin. I got lucky there. I just cut it short, and the way they were there, it just kind of hooked early and didn't ever get going to the right. So it just kind of wiggled the whole way down the lane in that puddle in the middle, and got lucky, rolled the 2-pin, threw a good shot on the fill, needed a strike to win. The 10-pin didn't go down, so that was a tie. Now we had to move on to a roll-off. Had to forget about all that. Had to forget about the gutter and move on to a completely different game.
It looks pretty gross. I mean, the one lane looked like it hooked a ton. You guys both took a swing at playing way right. You settled on basically throwing heaters on the one lane and hooking it on the other lane, and put together a really impressive looking 5-bagger in the middle to basically wrap that one up.
Yeah, that was a big 5-bagger. The big thing for me was, I mean, even in the position round, the entire week was kind of the same thing for me. Every block we bowled, what was it, 2, 4, 8 6-game blocks throughout that week, and it was pretty much always the same. I had 4 or 5 pretty good games, and one game that was between 150 and 180. Every block we bowled, I had a game that usually was the last game, game 5 or game 6, and I just struggled. It was like once I got left of 26, 27, it was like someone flipped a switch, and my ball reaction just didn't look really any good, despite all the things I was trying differently every single round. So that position round was kind of a little bit of the same thing, and then we go on to the roll off, and I'm thinking, I try not to get too far ahead of myself, but I didn't really like my chances if things were going to stay the same. So I tried playing right and see if I could figure something out there, and I was going to do that on both lanes. My first shot on the right lane actually hooked as soon as it touched the lane and went Brooklyn. And then Sean came over and he goes, "You ready for this?" That's a typical. I know something good's coming when Sean says that. He goes, "You ready for this? I think you can hook the ink on the right lane." And I go, "All right, let's do it." It was one of those moments where thinking back on what had happened throughout the week with the bad games, and there was just no time to feel sorry for myself, or no time to think about potentially not bowling well. I just needed to do what I needed to do, and that's what I did. I made a move in front of the ball return on that right lane. Didn't move enough the first time, missed the 3, 6, 9, 10, and after that the moves were accurate. And like you said, on the left lane, I was just there was enough early friction that I could get my high road pearl to just hook and freeze there, and that's what I did. And like I said, the pair was tricky. I just got fortunate to figure both lanes separately, figure them out a little bit quicker than Tom.
Yeah, aside from being a little bit offended, Regina says, "Good morning, guys. Congratulations, Frankie. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy." Yeah, all right, chopped liver here. Okay,
that's nice.
Yeah.
So, real quick, during the week, just give us a quick rundown of some of the balls you went through, because I think people don't quite grasp the concept of, like, in a major, quite how much the lanes change and the sort of the range of equipment that you would use. So even if you just sort of went through the balls that you used on the fresh, because I think that will be actually quite fun for people to see.
Mm-hmm. On the fresh, I believe I started with the Hustle Ink in the first round. I used the ink for the first game in the first round. After that, the lanes, with the re-oils and all the bowling that was done, the lanes started hooking earlier and earlier. The fronts started to hook a lot more. So for the majority of the time on fresh, I was using an Astrophysics. I think I may have used the Hustle PBR once. But on the fresh, yeah, it was Hustle Ink in the beginning, Hustle PBR maybe, mainly the Astrophysics until we got to match play, when again the lanes were starting to hook even earlier and the fronts went even more. And so there was even a few match play blocks when I just started with the Rubicon UC2.
And then when you get to the TV show, obviously it's a pair that was basically enclosed the whole week, so we didn't even really see them. What was your first takeaway when you got over there in comparison to how different they were?
I think we all had the same reaction when we first got there. We threw the balls that we had been throwing all week, because why wouldn't we? That's the ones that got us to the show, and none of them really looked good. I don't think anyone struck for about 10 minutes there in that initial practice session we had. And we kept thinking back on the week, well, maybe the fronts are just hooking even more on this pair. So we just went to cleaner balls. I moved left. I thought maybe I need to get away from that spot, and it was even worse. So we had to go back to the paddock and grab the hold whole new set of balls that I hadn't used all week. They didn't even come out to the lanes with me. They were in the paddock the entire week. The Rubicon, the RSTX1, and the Phase 2. And those were the ones that gave me a much better reaction. And like you said, that pair was they had left everything set up for the TV show from last week's show. So we didn't bowl on it at all. There hadn't been any. I'm not sure if they oiled it throughout the week or not. I don't think they did.
Actually, I can tell you that on. I think Sean did it every other day.
Every other day.
That was more than I thought.
Okay.
I thought it was once, but yeah,
he did it a few times.
But there hadn't been any bowling on it, and it's in a completely different different section of the bowling center. Where that bowling center, when we bowled there, the ToC, you could just sense there were like 3 different sections to it. There was the lower end, which was the 20s, and then the 30s, and the higher end. And
maybe that's where we went wrong.
Evidently.
I did, at least. I felt like there were 3 different sections to it.
Thanks for keeping that quiet.
Yeah, that's good looking out. All right.
Good friend.
When you look back on an event, you go, "Hey, what went wrong?" It turns out we're finding out just now.
Bad friends. Is what it sounds like.
You can always ask some questions. I'm happy to help.
I'm happy to help.
Nice. Charlie Tap, one of the reasons I love you. On Frankie, maybe he hit the thumb hole like Smallwood on the gutter ball.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I just lost it. There's no excuses here.
You hit the thumb hole every shot, so you can't.
I do hit the thumb hole every shot. Track over it for about 20 feet.
So you went in the first match, and I felt like when I saw that it was you against Rash the first match, I actually felt like the lanes were going to probably break down pretty nice for the last 2 games, because I felt like you against Rash are probably on that step ladder, the 2 guys who would leave the lanes the nicest. And then it was Jesper was coming up, so then one of you guys was going to bowl another game. So I felt like the scores were probably going to be quite high, but it seemed like you went into the shimwreck mode. You were like, "No, I'm going to turn this into the U.S. Open. That's my gig."
Yeah, I was.
The U.S. Opens he bowls on the TV shows, and the shows are not the U.S. Open anymore. So,
yeah, and I mean, you said it. We talked about it. The TV show pair was completely different from what we bowled on all week, and honestly, I was quite happy with that, because I was coming in after the crazy finish to match play, number 5 seed. I really didn't have anything to lose, and that was kind of my mindset. I thought, I'm just going to commit to being aggressive with the moves. I'm gonna make some changes as soon as I see that something is wrong. I'm just not going to be complacent on this TV show. I'm going to get aggressive, and I was quite happy with them being different. That was just one more thing that, again, nothing to lose. What's the worst that happens to me? So, yeah, once I got a little comfortable after that initial match, the moves started making sense, and I felt like I had a pretty good progression in mind. And thankfully, the moves I was making made sense to me, and they made sense to the lane too. So that's always nice.
Yeah, that's always the main thing. So you bull Rash the first game. Yeah, I mean, my guy. I mean,
Frankie's a nice guy. And then the next one, be sure to update Stu's chamois next tournament to 0-time major winner.
Or it could say Stu and Frankie 3-time major winners.
There you go. That's your double chamois.
Yeah, that's our double chamois.
Yeah,
we have 3 majors between us. So you bowl Rash, and Rash couldn't hit the right hand side of the head pin, yet he was still winning. Talk about the mental, I guess, challenge of wondering whether a guy as good as Rash is going to manage to take advantage of those breaks, while you were pretty close to the pocket, but you were really struggling to strike early on in that match.
Yeah, I think both of us ran into the same issue where we both started too far right, and I think the lanes changed. I anticipated the lanes to change pretty quickly, but they changed a lot quicker than I think both of us realized they would. So it seemed like, I don't know if he had some issues getting the ball off his hand, or it seemed like a couple of times he just didn't throw the shot he wanted to throw. seemed like he was a little uncomfortable. But at the same time, he's someone like that. You always kind of think, well, I certainly hope he doesn't take advantage of those good breaks he just had, because he's perfectly capable of that. And yeah, I mean, he made that move. He seemed to me like he made a move off the Brooklyns, and you know, I was hoping it wasn't going to be the right move. It's almost like he shouldn't have moved at this point. He was
just stay Brooklyn.
Yeah, he was lined up better than me. So no, yeah, it's definitely a concern when something like that happens. But I just tried to focus on what I had to do, and tried not to pay too much attention to what he was doing, other than seeing where his ball was going through at the arrows.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I think people need to realize that it's not about those things not affecting you, because when the other guy has those breaks in those situations, it affects everybody, or, you know, you're aware of it. It's just about being able to like refocus your mind to get on with your job.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to spend the whole time thinking, well, good bowlers don't worry about that. That's not really necessarily the truth.
Right.
We are muttering under our breaths. Like, seriously, do you need me to draw your map to the 1-3?
Yeah, it's like when he made that move off the double and he left the 6 spin. Under my breath, I'm like, man, shouldn't have moved. But it does affect us. But like you said, it's all about regrouping and focusing on what we can do. There's not much. I mean, in a sense, there's not much you can do as far as defense goes. You can with surface, with where you play on the lanes, but as far as directly affecting his shots and what your opponent's doing, there's nothing you can do. So it's not really worth thinking about too much, even though it still does affect us.
So then you move on, and you man, Timmy,
Tank rolling through the ladder. He was impressive. Masterful performance from one of the best shot makers in our sport today. Well, and you beat the guy in the roll off who was the best,
best of his generation.
And he is 2 years younger than me. I guess I've been knocked down a peg.
Yeah, you used to be his guy.
I used to be. Well,
I mean,
I used to be top 5 with Jim. I used to be one of Timmy's guys. Now, just a guy.
Now you're just my guy.
Yeah, just.
So when you see Timmy next, how long do you think it's going to be before he reminds you that he gave you a ball in Wisconsin?
We talk about it every now and then. He doesn't let me forget it. The Moxie was the ball that we drilled, and then when we got ready for that four-man,
when
we got ready for that four-man match right before the TV show at the Masters, we drilled an unhinged and a rocket. Yeah, the original one.
Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah.
Now this is what I love about bowlers. You ran the ladder. You won a major. You think you could have done something better? You want to change your strategy if you had to do over again?
I'd do everything the same. It worked out. It worked out all right.
So when you bowled Jesper, it was kind of a strange match when we were watching it, because it felt like you were going to win the whole game, and then it got like you got up in the 9th, and I thought Jesper had missed in the 8th, but then I look up and it struck. So I don't know if he got a late message or something. And then he strikes to put you in the situation where you needed another strike, because you were shooting 258 and he could strike out for 237.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got up, and I thought you threw one of the best shots of the first 2 games, really. You had the ring 10 in the 9th.
Yeah. That was just, I think that was just a move that I didn't make, or didn't move enough. I guess it just kind of faced up and locked up a little too quickly and got a little behind it and rang 10. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good shot.
Yeah, and then you basically got up, and to give people an idea, Jesper got to choose in that match, and I would say in my overall, I would say the amount of times I've seen Jesper, I think I've never seen him choose to finish the match last. Jesper loves finishing first. So I think that the 7-9 the other week was wearing a little heavy on him on that left lane. Now, I was actually saying that the left lane may be the GOAT of all racks because it managed to take out the 1 2-hander with urethane, lefty, 7-9. And then it came back to bite the other 2-hander with urethane. I mean, that rack is literally hashtag save the game.
It's and an 8-10.
It says 2-handers, bye-bye. Urethane, bye-bye. I think Joe Pelusic put it together.
I don't know how many re-racks there was on the show on that left lane, but I think I took 2 of them. Partly to regroup, but also because that rack was just a little bit off, and I think Sean took one. I think there were a couple re-racks on that left lane.
Bandwagoners.
I like this. In the same chat, you are the Norm Duke of this era, and what was the other one? You remind somebody of Mike Fagan.
I've heard that one before, and
I think the Fagan thing is you're both skinny with nice hair.
It could be. I've heard that before, and I personally don't see it. I don't.
Me either.
I don't really see the resemblance to Mike Fagan, but I guess quite.
But you both admit frugal.
Could be.
What was the other? Oh, the last great one-hander left. What a shot maker.
Man, Chris Prather says hello.
Yeah.
Bill O'Neill says hello.
EJ Tuckett.
Yeah.
You still have a few of them.
Memories.
I mean,
aren't terrible yet.
I mean, literally 2 of the last 3 tournaments have been won by one-handers.
And Smallwood hasn't missed a show in a year and a half now. So,
yeah.
So.
And I don't know whether you heard, but I threw 588 for 2 games on Saturday.
don't let him forget it.
Didn't throw 4 in the 10th, though.
Hey.
Oh, dear.
Thomas Quinn. Super happy for the new Norm Duke. Probably the most challenging step ladder ever. Rash Jesper Belmo Simon. It's no joke. That was.
So let's quickly move on to the final. I feel like mentally Simonson's one of the funniest people to bowl against, because you have because when you kind of bowl a guy, you kind of prepare yourself for, am I going to see transition in this game? Like, you're like planning out the game a little bit in your mind. Like, I know you're always going to react to what happens, but in the same time, you're thinking, well, if you're playing up against Belmo and you're to the left, you know that you're going to have to think seriously about your moves, because you're not going to want to chase it left into his transition and whatever.
Yeah.
But when you bowl Simonson, he could literally bowl on every arrow, including like going the opposite way on those arrows.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's really hard to prepare against for a match against Simonson, because, like you said, you don't know what's going to happen. I don't think he was planning on throwing that grenade on the show until probably his practice shots that he threw. It just didn't seem like it was really in his mind to throw that ball until he got there and then decided, okay, this is what I'll do.
Yeah, I mean, Simo's really good at it. He did it the last block. I don't know. I just felt like hindsight's 20/20, but when it's foresight, I feel like we had this debate in the bowling center about whether he was going to do that. And I just felt like creating as much transition as possible might have been a better route to go. But at the same time, I mean, once he changed the reactive ball, he looked like he had a great look. And then he cut one off a little bit and he had the 4 count. So I kind of understand his theory about trying to control it. And maybe if that rack wasn't as horrific as it was on the left lane, he could have been spare double on a different day. But he wasn't. You won.
Woo! Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, and you predicted that he would do something way outside the box. Yeah, I was like, last week didn't go very well. He'd have a little red ass. He was going to come after it, and he went. And you were like, well, he did it last year. Like, that was a year ago. Won't be like that. and then he came out throwing a 32-year-old ball up the gutter. So
yeah, it was funny. He was asking John Weber, because that ball is so old. He said, this one's not USBC approved. Is it still okay if it's ABC approved? Can I still use it?
It's the same people, but he wouldn't know that. He was
right
around then.
He might have already been born when he might have been born after USBC.
It's possible, to be honest. It's crazy. I mean, he's in a little rut. It seems like to me, where he's lost some shows on TV. He makes it a ton, so he does have the flexibility to go, you know what? I'm just going to try some of the things, but I went through a similar stage. I'm not comparing myself to what he's doing at all.
He might be one of the more qualified people to have this chat.
Maybe, but it seems like he's trying to out-ball reaction everybody right now. He wants to find a trick that's going to work, that's going to get him there, instead of, he's in that's very, very small class of people who can use any of his tricks and have a chance. And for his sake, that's why I hope he would go back to just doing whatever it is that he can beat people. He is beating people doing what they're doing.
Right. He's the most, to me, he's the most versatile bowler, and it's not like he's versatile, but he's just okay at a bunch of different things. He's versatile and he's really good at all the things.
Yeah, so, almost everything he's just as good at.
So I don't want to speak for him, and I don't know what his thought process is, but we all know how quickly, you get to the TV pair, you get your 6 shots or 8 shots if he's the number 1 seed, and all of a sudden you have some decisions to make against someone who's been bowling for 2-3 games and who's been following transition. And so I don't know if he was looking to control the pocket, hoping the scores would be a little bit lower and kind of get away with it, or I don't know, but it just goes quickly, and once you make that decision, you really have to commit to it.
Yeah, real quick, Regina has asked a question. I think, what did you see on the right lane that made you throw the phase 2 versus?
The right lane had a weird kind of the right lane was really weird to the right down lane. There was a weird spot that if you got your ball there the wrong way, it was really easy to miss the head pin. It was really easy to wash out. And so I felt like I needed something that was going to be a little bit quicker than the ball I was using to get it to get it to store enough energy to not wiggle and hook and go to the right. So it just felt like it was time for a change. I needed something a little bit quicker, but at the same time, the X1 still looked good on the left lane. So the plan originally was when I was going to go to the phase 2 was to go on both lanes, but when it came time to make that change, it was still good on the left lane, so I didn't see any need for it.
Okay, Timmy has a serious question. Does 3 majors qualify the tank for Hall of Fame, or is it 5-3 or 8-2?
I think it does. Mike J, Mike J did an interview afterwards, and Lucas did as well, and they said it did. I'm not completely sure on that, but
we're not under the opinion, the thoughts that it does. But
historically, it's been 7 and 2 majors.
Right.
5 finals plus 2 majors.
Right. So you have to get to 7 before, if you have 2 majors, and I think that's where Mark Williams fell in, and it took him a few times to get in at that number. Obviously, once you get to 10 with 3 majors, now you're in Dell category and Dave Houston kind of thing. So you're
that's like I said, that's what they said, and I hadn't even thought of that. That's what they told me afterwards, and I thought
you have a few minutes left.
I mean, you've got room for another 5 majors before you get to 10, so don't worry about it.
Exactly.
I mean, you're like the one-handed Belmo. You're not interested in these like other titles.
And the sweepers, no, I'm not interested.
No, exactly.
Stu won't bring out his comment from earlier, so I'm gonna bring it out that your resume is the opposite of EJ's. So that he's in the Extra Frame Hall of Fame, and although now he does have 2 majors, so it doesn't really hold that much water.
It's
But
kind of spoiled.
His resumes, he's built up his resume quite nicely.
it's filling out. It's filling out nicely.
Yeah.
But
whether
you have all
whether
majors,
that's the
no others, and
requirement
you got all extra frames, and
But you did win the race, and this is what we were talking about the 3 major race. We've been talking about it for a few weeks because Chris gets grumpy about all these things counting as titles, like because he's getting old and grumpy. And I was telling him, well, you're the only one after Belmo, apart from the 3 old goats that have 3 majors. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, literally everybody who's got a major's got 2 and nobody's got 3. So you won the race. So if we take Belmo out of it as the set, you're 23 years younger than the next guy with 3 majors on tour.
That's nice.
And Norm's the next one after that.
Yeah, and he's another 5 older than you.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Kind of funny, just for perspective. You're basically half Chris's age, and you're the only person. You're the other person with 3.
Right. It is crazy how many people. It is crazy how many people are stuck. I don't want to say stuck, but how many people have 2 majors?
Well, I mean, Bill went 10 years with 1.
Yeah.
To put in perspective of how difficult it is.
Right.
And here's you just wiggling your little ass up there and saying, I'll just take these down. I've made about 10 TV shows in my life total, and I've won 3 majors. Just don't worry about it. So how many major TV shows have you made now?
How many TV shows?
Majors.
Major shows?
3?
No, well, he made the World
know.
Championships last year, but I was wondering if there was another one where he didn't win.
4, I think that might be all of them.
Yeah, 75% clip on the majors, man.
Well, the Players Championship that we just had the Players Championship.
Oh, okay. All right.
that.
Okay, so now you're down to 60%. Man, Barnzy, if you're at 60%, nobody would have ever heard of Jason.
You'd still be chasing.
Yeah. The challenge is going to be making them as frequently as Jason does and keeping up that 60%.
He literally makes them. You counted it up at one point. It's like 50% of all the majors he's ever bowled in, including the front half of your career when no one makes nearly as many, and won 25% of them.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It's absurd.
Yeah,
he makes 50% of the TV shows, and he wins 50% of those TV shows, or something like just ridiculous like that. So,
hey, Frankie's the new Norm Duke, that's another debate. But is Simonson the new Marshall Holman? Well, they certainly haven't done him any favors with the intros, so it will make it easy for them to go that direction for sure with him.
Yeah,
Marshall Holman, latest motive staffer.
And that's my hero growing up because I thought he was super exciting to watch.
Game knows game.
And the thing he's most famous for is a
kicking the shot out the foul line.
Yeah, and the reality is it just wasn't screwed in. He didn't actually kick it, but just the story gets better over the years.
I mean,
kind of thing. But
Marshall was kind of cruel to me on an extra frame booth one time. He was like, man, if he could just work on his spares, and I'd wrap the washout twice in the same game. So there was one time where I was like, man, lock up the foul lights, and then I was like, I laughed with him. And I went, weren't you famous for being Mark Roth's partner?
Solid.
And then he went to bite it, and I was like, I'm just messing with you, Marshall. Don't worry.
We've had some good ones in here. Rob Peruchat has been going after it. Earlier he said something about I don't know Brooklyn. How you doing? It's 2-4 up now. I can't
there you go. Couch won 3 majors in a row. Yes, but we're not really counting Couch as bowling.
Yeah, we're talking about people that are bowling active right now.
Who are active. Because there's plenty of people with 3 majors.
Oh, a million, yeah.
Plenty is a push, but you know what I'm saying. Like Del Ballard has 3.
Roth,
Dave Houston has 3 U.S. Opens. I guess he has 4 majors total, I think.
I think so. Dell has 3. Walter has 1 million.
Yeah,
Norm, Pete,
yeah,
Roth, Holman, Earl, Mika has 3. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have 3.
Mike Olby, of course.
Well,
he has 10.
10.
Yeah. Certainly good company though. Hearing you rattle off those names.
Oh yeah.
It's not bad to have joined.
Yeah.
Well, if I was Randy, I would be saying, "Welcome to the club."
Yeah. The only problem is when he wins his next one, he'll give you the Gronk. I had to throw you out the club.
Yeah. I mean, by the time I was his age, I hadn't been on tour yet.
Oh, so there you go. Oh no, wrong one.
No, Marshall was not pleased that an amateur was bowling anything where there was that much money involved that they feel didn't earn the right to be in the game.
Oh,
and so the gamesmanship had started the night before.
Yep. I mean, you'd never do that now.
It had been a few.
I did learn a little bit in that thing.
It had been a few years, I think, since the ToC TV show was actually all national title holders, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much since we went to this format where there was they allowed regional winners to get in. So I think every year there's been non-national titleists on that show, even when there's only 4 people.
So Chuck is really keen for us to let you know that Verity compared you to a fart, saying that you were silent but deadly. This guy wants to play me for lunch so bad, but he never tells me when. I'll even let you play better ball. And if it's going to be on the house, you don't want none. You don't want none of me and Barney on the house show. You can bring whoever you want.
Yeah.
Especially if Barnes has got a Saspa ball, you're all in trouble.
I've been getting a lot of practice the last 6 or 8 months on the house shot.
Yeah, he used to be
such a toe on
anymore. Chris used to be like, I can't believe we're bowling on this. We turn up, we've got a pattern. Seriously?
Now we got enough room to match my game.
Oh, dear. All right, well, we were going to cut this one off a little short, Frankie, because we know that you've got a busy day of parlez-vous française on the old interviews. Je m'appelle La Michelle.
Merci beaucoup.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, oh man, somebody's getting greedy here, and we found Tati's burner account. Sneaky Frankie for the World Series. My dad actually drills Danny's ball, so I know that's not. We're just laughing about it. So when you called Tat, your girlfriend, was she a little disappointed that you couldn't find 12 strikes for the final? I mean, seriously, there was $1 million there. You just take it.
Yeah. She was really interested in the $1 million, but I guess she'll just
so another $1 million loss this weekend.
Yeah, no, she was happy. She was satisfied nonetheless. Let's just put it that way. She was okay with it.
Any other major champion that speaks 3 languages? I mean, Amleto's got a head start on the first 2.
I don't think he has 3 majors.
Osku does.
He just said any major champion.
Osku's a major champion who speaks multiple languages too.
True.
Yeah, Oscar's at 3, Timmy. Worst take ever, Timmy. Move along.
Yikes.
I mean, Mika speaks Finnish and Finglish. He hasn't got to a 3rd language yet.
Does he not speak Swedish?
I don't think so.
Mika? I think he kind of refuses to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's old school Finland when they were like Swedish. No.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you your 30 seconds here. Barnes, tell Frankie what bowling was like when you had to take the balls to lanes in a stagecoach. Yeah, that's cute. All right.
My wife has got a pretty inside joke here. She says Frankie needs to get re-added to the current room in rotation because she knows he has my Venmo. So the whole part of this was when I would room with Frankie, Frankie's like, I'm like, have you got cash? No, I've got Venmo. So then Frankie would transfer that to Tina. So I'd be like, hey, did you get that money from Frankie? Yes, I did. Straight in the bank account. Thanks, Frankie. So for a long time, Frankie's Tina's favorite just because of that. He doesn't pay cash. He just pays Venmo.
I got you, Tina.
Yeah, it's fortunate that Frankie has picked the least popular of all the platforms to transfer money. I also had money in my account from a year and a half later that I forgot. It was in my life.
Good. You can still spend.
I found it. Don't worry. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe you can leave this with this. How do you say I kicked your ass in French?
Je t'ai battu le cul.
There we go.
Yeah. And now my wife's mad at you.
Why
How come you paid me when I picked up food? When she picked up the food?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, we almost got into a fight when I tried to leave money there, and so I figured if I did it sneakily on Venmo, you wouldn't know about it until I was long gone and back in Wichita.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's changed a little bit. Now I think that she wouldn't fight you. She'd be like, "Man, are you only leaving for your food?" Oh, Boof has thrown in the old French now as well.
Yeah, you got to be careful with her. She's Italian, so you get the wrong side of that. What's that? Oh, time to get painted. Yeah.
You pick on the wrong one.
Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, wait. Barney forgot about money. Must be old age setting in. So.
We have another one of those as well coming up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Be on the lookout for that one. This is fairly humorous.
All right, Frankie. Do you want to thank anybody?
Just my sponsors. I'm sure you're going to have all of them scrolling down the screen at some point. But I want to thank Storm. I want to thank Turbo, Buddy's Pro Shop, and Cool Wick.
Oh.
Very good. Very good. Well, I believe we'll be back on Thursday, perhaps this time from Cool Wick. We'll see. And themselves. But once again, thanks for joining us, and thanks for joining and bumping up the number of free-time major titleists on this show. We're patiently awaiting Stu to join us. And for all you out there, support those bowling centers, support those small businesses, help them get through this time, and when you get a chance, please support our sponsors when you have a choice. We certainly appreciate it. Storm, Roto Grip, 900 Global, Vice, Turbo, Cool Wick, 3G Shoes, Master, Bowler Smart, and Mark Baker Bowling. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.